So I decided to make another video because the last video was the most boring topic in the world. I figured all I had to do in this video is make it mildly interesting and it would be a level up. So what are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about getting absolutely everything done that you need to do. You see, as I was looking through some of the comments both on the YouTube channel, my blog, and Facebook, I discovered that despite the fact that people understand that you need to get to execution in order to make a difference in your business and create some progress, one of the problems that they were having was, well, execution. So let me just set the stage for you. It starts with a story. The other day, I wanted to go and get some copy written for some videos that I'm about to produce, and I was sick of the same old view that I've had for the last 4 years. So what I decided to do was call a friend and ask if I could come hang out at his house and have less distractions and have maybe new environment in order to inspire some creativity that I hadn't had in recent weeks. So I swapped that view for this one. However, as I looked at my calendar, I realized, well, there was a lot left to do that day, and it would have been pretty irresponsible of me to just summarily leave, shut off my phone, and go heads down. So what did I do? Oh, I totally left, but I still needed to get those things done. So what I did was I created an email that I could send out to my staff that was my best effort to make sure that they had everything that they need to get that day's project done. So I want to review that with you because later in this video, I'm going to describe to you a bizarre accident that actually caused this to become part of my business's ongoing best practice. So what did I do? I sent my email out to my staff and I broke it down like this. You know, looking at this, I realized if I spent just a little bit more effort, I could make this say clever stuff. The first thing that you should always tell people is what the outcome of the project is. We need to understand what the purpose of what we're working on is in order to be effective. Sure, you could tell somebody to make this box, but if they don't know exactly what the purpose of the box is, they might not use their own intellect, their own intuitiveness, their own skill, their own capability, their own historical experience to add to the creation of it. So let's say, for example, that I wanted to sell additional seats in my private consulting group. I would want people to understand that the purpose of this project is so that we could interview more clients and see whether or not they're right to become a consulting client. Just articulating that purpose alone means that the rest of my staff understands the goal that they're working on. Because the next thing that you want to do is give them something called a set of deliverables. What's a deliverable? A deliverable can be one thing, or it can be many things. It can be many things that are required in order for the project to be complete. So in the private client example, I know that one of the deliverables has to be a landing page. And that landing page is going to have certain things on it like, a video and an add to cart button. Another deliverable is going to be the thank you page that lets them know how long approximately it's going to be before I get them on the phone and we have our first call. And then, of course, another deliverable might be the receipt email that goes to the customer. Deliverables are the materials that your staff creates in order to help you achieve the outcome. Now, here's something that I started doing fairly recently. I wanted to include some examples so that my staff would know exactly what it's going to look like when it's done. I will send them links to previous projects that we've done that are exactly the same or very similar. Sometimes there might be a new subcontractor or a new staff member that hasn't worked on this type of project before, so I want them to know what it looks like. Now, if this is the first time that you're doing this in your business, you know what you can do? You can send them to other sites that have good examples that you would like to model. The next part here is called critical parts. All right, what do I mean by critical parts? Your shopping cart page needs to be secure. It needs to be HTTPS for secure. My opt-in form needs to actually work with my autoresponder. That needs to be tested. My shopping cart needs to send an email that's got the right amount, the right terms of service, the right refund period. That needs to be double checked. These are very critical parts, right? These have to do with security and the ability to affect a transaction. But maybe you're just doing some marketing and lead capturing. Well, you know what? Call it out if you think it is. So for example, I think having Facebook comments on a landing page to me is pretty critical because I want any comments to go viral. What about the little social media sharing icons? Those could be a critical part. Make sure you include that list of critical things so that everybody understands that it's not done until it has those critical parts in it. So what's next? People. There is no such thing as effective jump ball in business. Yes, I know you'd love to be able to just send out a communication and have everybody be so eager and enthusiastic that they'll jump on and raise their hand and say, I got this, boss. I'm going to do this. Good for you, boss. Yeah, that never happens. Ever. You want to assign these tasks. You probably already know who's responsible for what, but here's one little rule of thumb. For every deliverable and critical part, there needs to be a person assigned to it. That is the only way that you can ensure that your human capital resources, told you we were going to level up on this one, are aware that there are responsibilities that they have in order to get the job done. Speaking of getting the job done, don't forget to include an expectation of time. I realize that there are certain parts of your business, whether it is a staff position, a department, an outsourcer, where whenever you send them an assignment, it's kind of like, well, going into a black hole. And that might be because, you don't know how to code .NET or PHP or one of those other alphabet soup languages, and that's okay. Just because you don't know how to do it doesn't mean that you can't establish a timetable to get it done. Do you want to talk to them about how long they think it's going to take? Absolutely. And then the minute that you get that advice from them, cut 10% off. If somebody's going to miss their projected timetable, you want to make sure that if there's any department or person that's upstream from that, that's waiting for them to be done, you don't want them sitting around idle. You want them to move on to the next task that they can do that's not dependent on somebody else getting something done. I'll give you an example. In my reality, what I do is I write the copy. The copy goes to the proofreader, who's my sister. So you can imagine the raft of holy hell I get when I screw things up like you and your and there and apostrophe S, man, I can never get that right. She then sends it to the designers. The designers send it to the developer who puts it on the page. What do you think happens there? I see a design and I change it, and then I probably change it again. And then what happens is my developer is sitting there doing the virtual equivalent of twiddling his thumbs waiting. So what do? If we know something has to be done by a certain date and that I'm going to violate that by causing additional design to be done, the developer knows far enough in advance that they can move forward and work on other stuff that's super important. What about this? Gotchas. So what we're talking about is the danger that could occur while somebody is working on something. And I'm not talking about, carpal tunnel or somebody having a bad lunch. What about something that your company consistently doesn't do great and holds you up? Maybe what you want to do is call that out as a gotcha. I'll give you an example. For a long time, I used to forget to put, the privacy policy and the little disclaimer that we use cookies on our site. And so always at the last minute, we'd figure it out. Somebody like my sister, the proofreader, would say, hey, guess what? Those links, they're not there, or they go to the wrong place. So what we did was we created a project specifically for creating a footer that goes on all of our pages, that's consistent, that has all the links going to the right pages so that we would have, no legal troubles. Next, this is forecasting. Forecasting, simply put, is what is going to happen after the project is done, right? So everybody makes their deliverables, they have their critical parts, they do it on time, and they watch out for the gotchas. Now it's done and you're sitting with it. What can you do now? Forecast what's going to happen. When this thing is done, I am going to send an email to my subscribers and tell them to come to this page and look at this offer. Why do you want to do this? Let me tell you something I'm really bad at. And it causes some friction. You see, my dad oversees customer service, and I have this habit, if you will, of doing things fast. And as a result, one morning he'll wake up and we will have, launched a product, and our customer service is wondering what the hell all this activity is. And he wonders if, has somebody hacked our server? Because that actually does happen. By not forecasting and telling people what is going to happen, when it's going to happen, afterwards, I put my father in a position to be my father, which is awesome. Love you, Dad. So don't do what I do. Take some time, let everybody know exactly what you're going to do. Are you going to promote with YouTube? Are you going to promote with Google? Are you going to send an email to your list? Are you going to use Facebook ads? Are you just going to let it sit for a couple days? Are you going to have, joint ventures promote it? Let people know what's going to happen next so other departments can be prepared to do their own thing, to have their own to-do list together so that they're not caught unawares. And lastly, and this is super important, the measurement of success. The first thing that you want to do when you're complete with that project is establish a means to measure its effectiveness. How long did it take? Did it take a couple of days? Did it take a couple of weeks? What did that cost you? Okay, within that same period of time, what has that actually earned the company? What has it done to improve your brand position? What has it done to get more subscribers? What has it done to get more views, more comments, more engagement, more joint ventures jumping on board who want to help? And we have to be able to classify it not necessarily as a success or a failure, but how successful it is. Or the next time that we do it, we're going to do things a little bit differently. There was a little bit of an accident that occurred that actually turned this thing into something pretty great. After I wrote the email and hit send and everybody's got it, I got a phone call just as I was running out the door. And it was my buddy. And he basically said, "Nah, y'all can't come over today." After I had spent all this time articulating stuff, all I did was slide myself in to one of the people, and I realized that I had just created what I believed one of the most powerful self-imposed to-do lists that I'd ever created. In Evernote, I have this all written out with little dashes next to it and numbers. So anytime I decide that I'm going to start on a project or I know I need to get something done, I simply fill out the blanks of all of these things, and I've got myself a full-blown mini project that will get me through the day knowing exactly what I'm trying to accomplish. Pretty cool. Hey guys, I want to thank you for watching this video. Please do me a favor. Leave some comments for me. Put some comments down on below. If you're on the blog, there's comments below this. If you're on YouTube, there's comments below this. If you're on Facebook, comments below this. Just tell me what you think. Tell me how I could do it better. Tell me what your takeaway was. And depending on where you are, go ahead and subscribe. Subscribe, become part of the family. And speaking of comments, why don't we just take a moment and take a look at some comments I got from the last video, because boy, they are a barrel of monkeys full of fun. Okay, super smart. Well, looks very good. Great video, great video. Great content. I'm one smart dude, as usual. Great. Here's one. The shiny green thing hanging around your neck on your chest produces a distracting glare. Lose it. Well, friend, thank you for pointing that out. In fact, some people asked me what it was. Like Iron Man, this is my source of power. Actually, no, it's a device called a swivel. In fact, you see this little doodad right here? This is a robotic camera. What I do is I put my little iPhone in here, and when I'm wearing this swivel device on my neck, look what it does, everybody. It follows it around. It follows me everywhere. They should have this thing for kids. But the reason I was wearing it on my neck, it also has a little wireless microphone. That's right. So I speak into it, and it sends that signal wirelessly over here to this here swivel, which then plugs into your iPhone and then gives you really cool audio. Now, today I decided not to use that, and that's why I've got my little lavalier there, but that was the reason to have that. I hope, John, that answered your question. On point, Andy, great quality. You deliver stellar content. Thanks, Andy, I needed that. Excellent video, cool vid. Here's one that I'm a particular fan of. Your video keeps stalling. Your proper ones never did that. I gave up on it after about a minute. You know, normally, Merv, one of the things that I would say is, I'm really super sorry. And I'll say that even again. But here's the deal. This was served on YouTube. So now, if you ever have problems with YouTube videos, stopping and starting and stuttering, and you know that you've got good bandwidth, try this little trick. Go ahead to that YouTube video that's giving you grief, right-click here and go to your settings. When you hit settings, what you'll see here under local storage is a little slider. Now, what that's basically saying is that Flash is only allowing about 100K of that video to buffer onto your machine. That means the rest of it has to be sent to you over the interwebs. And if those pipes are cloggy, you're going to have problems. So here's what you can do. Just grab this thing and set it to 10 megabytes, or you could set it up to unlimited if you've got a lot of hard drive space. This way, what YouTube allegedly will do is they will try to buffer as much of the video as possible onto your player, onto your machine, so that you then have uninterrupted playback. I hope that's helpful. On the other problem you have, me looking disgusting, boss, I can't help it. I was born this way. Y'all want to come by where I hang out? That's at andyjenkinsblog.com, and I've got a cool little report about the top 100 WordPress plugins that internet marketers use. Otherwise, I'll see you next week. Thanks for watching, guys.